ABC Weather Lab. Here's Eric's forecast.
Just a fantastic start to our Labor Day weekend here in Acadiana. Plenty of sunshine. Temperatures made their way into the lower 90s, so a little bit on the hot side, but the humidity remained in check for a good bit today. Now tomorrow we will see that humidity begin to return a little bit, and that could spark off a few isolated showers, but I do think that shouldn't cancel any of your weekend plans, as it does look like it should be another couple nice days for us locally. So take a look at the satellite and radar. You can see not a whole lot showing up, and that's because we continue to be under the little bit of that northeasterly flow, which kept us on the dry side today. But you can see just off to our east, we have this stationary boundary, which is separating from that little bit drier air from more of that moisture. We're starting to see some scattered showers developing in the Gulf, and I do think this moisture will slowly start to track its way, and that's why I will at least see the chance for a few isolated showers returning across our area. This is all associated with a big upper level low that's down towards the Yucatan Peninsula. That should head due west, and the National Hurricane Center is keeping an eye on this, giving it about a 30% chance of development as it does work its way to the west. Not expected to move our way, but you do see on the northern flank of this, that's where we see some of that tropical moisture. So I do think along the backside of that we could increase our rain chances tomorrow. But the big story continues to be very powerful Hurricane Dorian, still Category 4 strength, but there are some questions. It does look like it continued to strengthen and maybe become a Category 5 by some part tomorrow, making its eye right towards the northern Bahama Islands, and it looks like it'll make landfall as a very powerful system, causing life-threatening conditions for them sometime during the late morning and into the afternoon tomorrow. As we tilt this back a little bit, you can see the worst of the weather continues to be on the eastern side of this, but it's still going to cause a lot of issues as it makes its way off to the west. But if we can keep more of that worst weather on the east, maybe we can luck out along the east coast of Florida. So the latest information as of 10 o'clock, 150 mile an hour winds still, but you can see some gusts up to 185 miles per hour. The hurricane hunters, we're seeing some pretty sustained winds between that 155 to 160 range. That's why some of us did thought it potentially could become a Category 5, but the National Hurricane Center says that data could be a little iffy, so they're keeping it at the 4 as of right now, but I wouldn't be surprised if it maybe does strengthen as the pressure does continue to fall. There you see it making its way over those northern Bahama Islands tomorrow during the afternoon and into the evening. Now this is going to really slow down over the Bahamas, so they're going to be dealing with those powerful hurricane force winds of 140 to 150 miles per hour for almost an entire day tomorrow, so that's some bad news for those islands. Then as we head into Monday, that's when we begin to see this northerly turn, keeping it off the east coast of Florida, getting closer to the Carolinas as it begins to weaken down to a Category 2 storm, but still winds over 100 miles per hour and a pretty close turn right along the Carolina coast. So it does look like some very dangerous conditions, especially by the midweek. So here's a look at the tropical storm force winds. These are winds above 40 mile an hour and the probability that those locations will see said winds. And so you can see the strongest winds do look to remain out over the Atlantic and over the Bahamas, but we are starting to see about a 50-50 chance along the east coast that they'll at least see 40-50 mile an hour wind gusts as this system comes up. That continues to move a little bit more inland as we get closer to Jacksonville, or at least the probability comes up a little bit more, and then even more so as we go into the Carolinas. So a good bit of people will at least see the probability of tropical storm force winds even if the track remains offshore. So just because the track's offshore doesn't mean that's all the impacts. Also, with this kind of carving right along the coast, we'll still have all that wraparound coming around, so storm surge is going to continue to be a big issue with this system. Hurricane warnings out for the Bahamas, while we do have a couple of tropical storm watches issued for portions of the Florida coast for that possibility that they'll see those 40 mile an hour wind gusts. Here locally, looks to be another nice start to today, plenty of sunshine, but as mentioned during the afternoon, we will be watching for the chance of a few isolated showers to work their way from east to west across the area. Not expecting to be a whole lot, so I wouldn't cancel any of your plans, but just keep in mind you might run into a passing shower tomorrow afternoon. And then a similar story on Monday. So a pleasant night in store. Temperatures dropping down into the low to mid 70s. For our Sunday, partly cloudy and hot. The humidity will start to increase. That brings that slight chance for a shower. Temperatures getting back into the lower 90s. Labor Day Monday looks good. And then you can see as rain chances go down and we really get that northerly flow coming around, temperatures will heat up mid 90s by the time we push into Wednesday and Thursday. And then heading towards next week, our next system tries to move through, increasing rain chances, but right now not looking to be overly wet over the next 10 days.